President Donald Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson are the perfect complement to one another. Trump, we all know he's bombastic. He says things. He's out there. He pushes the envelope. Something called the Overton window is the idea that there are issues that are within the bounds of discussion. And the Overton window is the place that goes outside those bounds of discussion. Donald Trump pushes the Overton window every single day in terms of what he talks about. And the establishment says, no, no, and they go drive them nuts. Well, Mike Johnson is the perfect person to be Speaker of the House. And it's incredibly important that we continue with this pattern should President Trump become president again in 2025. Why? Because Mike Johnson doesn't overtly push the Overton window. Mike Johnson is a solid, real smart guy who's very conservative, but he's not threatening the way Donald Trump is verbally. But Speaker Johnson's already proven that he's willing to push the Overton window. He just doesn't do it in a bombastic way. The best example of that that's come up already is the general thinking in Washington, D.C. is you wanted to do a big appropriations bill, including Ukraine and Israel. Israel is the cover for the Ukrainian spending. Israel's the justification for giving money to Gaza through the UN and the Palestinian Authority, essentially trying to buy off the Palestinian Authority in exchange for the support for Israel. This is part of the conventional wisdom of playing both sides of Washington, D.C.'s kind of kabuki theater that they play, where they put one thing up and say, if you vote against this bill, that's a $105 billion bill, you're voting against Israel, which is $14.3 billion. Okay, 15% of the bill, 14% of the bill is Israel money, but you're castigated for voting against Israel if you vote against the bill. Well, Mike Johnson breaks that. He says, no, we're voting on the Israel package alone, 14.3 billion, and we're doing something else. We're offsetting it with taking money that was already sitting at the IRS waiting to be spent, and we're pulling that $14 billion out of the IRS and we're spending it on the Israel package. So it's a budget negative. It's got neutral budget implications. It's just reallocating funds from one thing the money was being spent on to another thing, to something else. Exactly what Congress should be doing, and in fact is required to do under the Budget Control Act, but they rarely do. So he's breaking all these conventions, and you can see. Just look at the headline on this article. Democrats rage at Speaker Johnson repairing Israel aid with IRS cuts. You see, the Democrats all wanted to be able to vote for the Israeli aid, but just print the money. And knowing full well that on the Senate side, the Senate will probably try to put together a package that combines Ukraine aid, Israel aid, and a bunch of other stuff, the Christmas tree ornaments that they want to put on it. Mike Johnson said no. It drives them nuts. What do you mean you want to pay for it? What do you mean you want to set priorities? That's why Mike Johnson would be the perfect speaker for a Trump presidency, because Donald Trump will shatter the Overton window and allow us to discuss things that have been previously unacceptable, that haven't been within the mainstream, things like trying to pay for the things that we want and set priorities. Mike Johnson is the guy who quietly will actually do it. That's why Donald Trump and Mike Johnson are the perfect Mr. Outside and Mr. Inside to try to take back this country and restore not only fiscal sanity, but overall government sanity in terms of restraint and control of a government that is actually answerable to the people. It's an amazing duo, and let's hope that in 2025 they are in position to work closely together to fundamentally transform America back to the greatness we once enjoyed. This is Rick Manning, Americans for Limited Government.